Hello and welcome to the second edition of the Economic Times BFSI Tech Leaders Summit, wherein the who's who of the BFSI sector discuss the impact of technology, its interlinkage with the customer experience, and share their inspiring stories. In this episode, we bring you an exclusive event highlight. First up, we have a keynote address on next-gen banking, leveraging technology for customer-first experience by Alok Kumar Chaudhary, Managing Director for Retail Business and Operations at the State Bank of India.
The theme of the summit today is basically about next-gen banking and technological support to this entire process with keeping the customer in the focus. So it promises to deliver and herald a new kind of era which is full of opportunities, limitless possibilities, and believe I do that in this country, resurgent nation of ours, the opportunities and possibilities far outweigh the vulnerabilities which may be generally talked about. And as the winds of change sweep through this country in all its spheres, there couldn't have been a better sphere than BFSI's sector, which is at the helm of transformation to understand the changes and surmise about it, because it has adopted an integrated technology in the way of its working, leveraging it for the benefit of all the stakeholders in it, and mostly the customers, most prominently that particular section.
In our next session, we bring you an intriguing panel discussion on digital lending innovations, the next frontier, wherein leaders discuss reinventing lending from days to seconds, challenges faced with BNPL, and much more.
What is more important is how you can build your intelligence around that data. And that is where the fintech and digital lenders are really disrupting the platform. So what they are essentially doing is they are building risk models which are time tested, and this COVID disruption has been a blessing in disguise. What this has done is it has accelerated the learning of all the data models.
We have become a lot more conscious. Now the point that we need to take care as technologists, as we kind of move on to the next frontiers, that we need to take the security and real-time authentication, the verification of the information and data hand in hand. Otherwise, that fear can very, very easily gobble up all the good work that might come along.
Particularly in the MSME segment, we've been, Lending Cart has been able to understand what the customer needs and look at data as the key aspect. And rather than basing things on collateral like in the past, leveraging cash in the business's bank account as a collateral and building credit models on top of it and servicing them.
We as a company have fundamentally doubled down on this entire concept of being able to underwrite and credit score and then financially include customers basis completely alternate data.
Over the last 2 years, BNPL as a product has grown anywhere between 500 to 700%. And the amount that has been lended through BNPL as a mode is just about less than 2%, but the number of transactions is at around 37% for banks and 12% for NBFCs, which means the ticket size is very small and the volume is huge, which means the platform needs to be able to scale, needs to be able to meet the technology demands and customer experience demands that needs.
The part that actually is different about BNPL, I think, from the rest of lending is the fact that when we speak of BNPL, we are at the checkout page of a merchant, and we are offering sign up, KYC, underwriting, NACH setup at that point. So we are introducing like maybe 4 or 5 levels of friction. In this case, it's important for that transaction to happen within that 5-10 seconds, because otherwise the merchant loses that customer, the customer goes away, and it's a net loss for everyone, right?
Our next panel discussed how neo and open banking is ensuring a safe and secure way for payments and banking.
Well, I would say like any other technology, there is an adoption curve. So as of now, what we see is that yes, there is a bit of uncertainty and confusion with respect to what is the value which digital platforms bring in. Now, some of the early adopters like the millennials and folks who are very technology savvy, and unlike some of us, they are not really comfortable going to branches or doing their banking the old-fashioned way. For them, it is a great fit.
I can go back to my sort of journey during the UPI days. So when we were doing Google Pay, for instance, right, I think the thing that sort of caught on, of course, first was with NPCI creating a great protocol that acted as a platform to bootstrap everything from there. That was sort of the key and integral part of it, which ensured that now innovation could be done on top of that, right? So the key there is, like, I'll sort of credit NPCI, RBI to actually creating that platform in the first place that spurred on innovation from various technology players across the market, right? And then you saw interesting go-to-market techniques and technology that helped spur up the numbers when it came to UPI and allowed it to reach from, like, tier 5 cities out there and did it.
So as a lending industry, I would say our number one, I think, challenge and priority should be to basically figure out how do we make it inclusive ecosystem for everyone and all players. And this will really go towards a greater cause of the country building.
As an industry, I think we need to keep the customer into center. We have to figure out, we have to be transparent, and that's maybe the whole crux of neo-banking, that you push the envelope by being transparent. Maybe today's customer is expecting a little bit of a different flavor, and that's where neo-banking comes into picture. They are able to maybe pre-optimize the same dish in a nice flavor, add some masala to it, give it in a nice manner, and serve it in a nice experience back to the customer again. And this is what the customer likes as well. So maybe that's how we should approach the larger industry.
Up next, we have a special address on the role of technology in shaping up and transforming customer experience by Bhavneesh Lathia, Chief of Customer Experience at Kotak Mahindra Bank.
The first thing I would emphasize is sort of, working backwards from a customer. Now, what that means in this context is kind of a lot of times people start with a product-centric thinking. I have a credit card. I'm going to find the right segment of customers to kind of market that credit card to. And then I'm going to figure out how to create a value proposition that kind of drives the adoption of that credit card. The customer has a need to kind of spend money and then figure out, like, how does one kind of create solutions that then meets the need. So it's a diametrically opposite view than a product-centric thinking.
Powerful forces are reshaping the BFSI industry, as we know. Customer expectations, technological capabilities, regulatory requirements, millennium demographics, and new fintech startups are converging to create an imperative for change for BFSI industry. And banks need to get ahead with these challenges if they have to be relevant, and win big in the next era. Banking is an industry that is generating enormous amount of data, which is relevant customer data. This vast amount of information is being constantly aggregated and analyzed. So the banks can deliver real-time customer experiences by identifying patterns, sentiments, engagements, and loyalty. The bank should know the customer better, and therefore banks need to have 360-degree view and deeper analysis of the customer. Banks have to really figure out how do they balance between automation and personal touch.
Moving on, we have a power-packed panel discussion on how organizations can optimize customer experience by using analytics and intelligence tools.
On customer experience, over the last 4 to 5 years, I suddenly see that becoming a very front and center in the conversations in boardrooms and wherever you go. One of the first things is that 90% of transactions are now digital. So one of the important aspects for us now is what is the quality of your digital experience. So technology and how technology works reliably is one very important aspect when we think about consumer experience.
One of the other means which is used in a different manner but can be leveraged significantly is asking for customer feedback. Now, customer feedback can happen in multiple ways. One of them is a very structured form where I essentially take a judgment call of these are the 5 areas that you will have issues on. But customer may have a very different thing to speak about, and that is where comes the digital tools of free text and therefore text mining to create themes. These can all be used to engage with the customer.
If you're building a bank for future, you have to think what will happen after 10 years. Right now, most of us have migrated from a physical world to digital world. So we are okay with 90% digital, right? The next generation wants it to be 100% digital. And I think that's where the banking is to go.
a customer is a customer at the end of the day. So whether it comes from a partner channel or a proprietary bank channel, it doesn't matter. The differential comes in here where the customer front end varies a little because when you are into a partnership, the entire service structure, which is the from a tech perspective, where the microservices layer typically will support the customer journeys in the front end. So that's where the bank comes in that stage. Plus, how do you ensure that all the other things that requires a bank to be secured is taken care in that same journey. So these are two primary elements that needs to be taken care of while we are delivering service to a customer.
The tools required to enhance customer experience is not really tools, but really enabling your people with tools. Technology has brought down the cost of experimentation, especially things like cloud. At the same time, I'm able to drive more experimentation, so which means it's no more about tools, but it's really about empowering the front line with the right tools. When you look at cloud and automation, they are just really tools and platforms and enablers for you to be able to build better customer experience. And the way you would want to go about doing it is really start thinking about how do I offer highly personalized services at scale. So a clear area where cloud and automation is going to change customer experience is really in terms of highly personalized services, at the same time driving the cost down of personalized services, because today in the conventional world, a cost of a personalized service, if I want to have a concierge desk, for example, if I want to have a wealth management service from a bank, it's expensive. Whereas technology is going to drive that down, where personalization is going to be a key differentiator, and cloud and automation is going to play a key role in getting that moving forward. At Amazon, frankly, we take a lot of decisions based on data. Data is really at the front and center of everything that we do. Having said that, we also give a lot of importance to anecdotes, which is to say there is data and then there are anecdotes of what customers really are telling us. We kind of marry that and make sense out of it, and that's what we've been doing for the past 25 years across all our businesses. BFSI, in my view, the next 10 years is going to be incidentally services offered on technology platforms and not just financial services. The reason I say that is when we speak about really highly personalized services being offered at scale, millions and billions of users are going to have highly personalized services across all kinds. That includes saving products, liabilities, asset products, etc. But the cost of that service delivery is going to go down to net zero, and that's going to change really customer experience in financial services, which means essentially I'm going to be consuming financial services on technology platforms of some sorts, which means increasingly I see, for example, banks becoming technology businesses.
Welcome back. Our next panel discusses how organizations in financial services can manage their data by using AI, MI, and cloud services.
We into the services industries. Services is all we provide. We do not have products in terms like a manufacturing industry, etc. And because of the services we provide, we need a lot of data to know our customers. I would say opportunity arises from data, be it when it was in the physical form and all, it was still a lot of data being collected. Now in the digital form, it becomes a much easier to collect it, consolidate it, analyze this. I would say extend the KYC to beyond just a compliance angle. Know your customer for really who they are. Extend it to from a KYC to a UIC, understand your customer. Banking should be given as a service. So that's the way we can actually utilize data as an opportunity.
You know, data is at the core of digital transformation. If we look at digital transformation, we are trying to achieve three things. Number one is exceptional customer experience. Number two, operational efficiency and automation. And number three, leverage data to come up with different strategies and business model. Trust me, data is at the core of all of these three initiatives. And that's the reason most of the organizations are moving towards becoming data-driven organization.
Particularly public sector banks, now they have begun the digital journey and they are moving ahead. Ultimately, they are slow in pace because they are not having much data with them as of today. What private sectors, those who have come in last 10 to 15 years, they have started their journey itself is data. So data is rich source of information which can make organization go up or go down. Now it is up to us how we analyze the data, take out the 360 view of a customer and position the required product and with compliances so that privacy and legal issues are maintained.
In our next session, we bring you a fireside chat on leveraging AI to enhance the experience in new age banking.
AI has been influencing our daily life, and when we are talking about AI, in terms of how it's been, influencing BFSI for that matter, the government initiatives, they've come up with this EASE framework which helps in terms of how to bring about AI adoption in terms of digitization. So that's one key element in terms of how we see AI being embraced at a much faster pace in terms of BFSI for that matter. With relates to the cybersecurity landscape, which obviously we've been hearing a lot from a BFSI standpoint or an FSI standpoint, where fraud detection is a key thrust. So you need to have those cybersecurity controls in that respect. We also see AI from the solutions in terms of the adaptability from a rich customer experience. It's in and all, AI has been influenced in all these aspects.
The technology may be great, but there are always impedances. Many a times people want to use AI with the objective of using an AI, which will lead you nowhere. The objective has to be a business-driven objective. It has to be a long-term need which it needs to cater to. It should be a long-term problem that it solves. Now, if you look at the level at which AI tools are growing, the amount of technologies that are coming into AI, it is also going to be a fundamental challenge to even maintain workforce which is capable of handling and managing these kind of new technologies, which probably don't have a very long life cycle, right? These technologies keep changing and upgrading. So along with AI, one needs to look at automation very, very closely. Because unless that is done, you will buy a phenomenal tool, but the tool will die because you will not be able to garner enough workforce to manage that tool. Uncertainty is a certainty in business, right? You have to be prepared for uncertain times. And to do that, what you can do is automate your mundane activities across various businesses. And that's where AI becomes a very important engine to actually help.
Technology can play multiple roles. And if you're talking about the industry of BFSI, more so. So two ways you can look at. One is that improving the customer experience at the outlet, at the branches. And the second one is improving the customer experience when the transaction is happening online. In the first one, it could be giving a better immersive experience to the customers when they're approaching the branches, which can be happening in terms of having a host of devices, a host of digital signages, a host of I would say other data points which can be thrown at the customer with the help of kiosks, where a profiling can be done, and according to the profile, the data can be shared with the customer or the customer can be guided. On the online side, today mobile banking is very, very popular. So one of the things which can be done is that data becomes very, very important. How do we play with the data at that point of time? And technology plays a very, very big role there. One of the things is that you have the profile of the customer which is available with the banks and the financial institution in their own repository, and of course they also have external repository. I think they have to do something around cleaning this data, right? And then treating it in a nice way. There are legacy systems which carry a lot of data. How do you pull them in? How do you integrate those data in? There are technologies available for all of this. And Lenovo provides a platform for synchronizing this all together and bringing them together. So data is, wherever you go, you hear about the importance of data. And the way organizations are using data, it is a huge amount of applications which we have seen. If you look at BFSI, of course, all the more importance is there because you have to play with the customer profiles. And I believe a lot of capabilities is there in form of AI/ML today. So Lenovo is a pocket to cloud company, and there are a lot of things that we work with the banks which are our customers. Of course, we are well known for the endpoints. So our devices, they are used to reliably service our banking customers and help them service their customers. So that's one of the things which we do. And second thing is that our servers and storage are used for compute application storage, data storage applications reliably. And we also work with customers for managing the entire ecosystem of life cycle of the devices, the life cycle of the computing system, so that the resilience is there and the reliability factor does not go down. So we have managed services for all our infrastructure which we provide to the customers. In addition to that, we also work with some of the BFSI customers for unified communications, and of course providing a lot of capabilities in terms of managing data.
Our next panel focuses on how insurance companies can leverage analytics tools for analyzing customer behavior, understanding and mitigating frauds, and much more.
If you look at, non-life insurance business, the biggest line of business is motor. And the moment of truth in the insurance business is the claim process, right? So normally what happens in case you crash your car, and unfortunately, if you crash your car, you normally would call up the insurance company, they would appoint a surveyor. We said, why don't we empower the customer? Now as a customer, all you need to do is to basically click photographs. Step number 2, upload them using the mobile app. There's an AI engine at the back end, which will basically assess the images, and up to certain amounts, within 20 minutes it conveys the extent of damage. You give your consent, the money is transferred. So that's how we were able to leverage technology, and this is innovative and this is real.
I think with the scale what we are looking at, adoption, what is coming in, user-based insurance coming in, cloud-based models are evolving. They help you to scale, they help you to be flexible, they help you with the security concerns which are actually emerging.
We have seen in the last 2 years, 600% jump in the security incident. Now, what do we do about it? Of course, the first thing goes into mind is firewall or technology aspects. Definitely important, but equally important are the people and the process part of it. Without the three balancing out each other, I don't think there's a proper solution which can be worked out.
The insurance business is all about risk assessment, and there is a certain information that is available based on the proposal that comes from the customer, and on that we are making decisions. So the more information we have about that customer profile, the better. So it's about making it easier for the customer, that customer convenience. With more information will be of great help for the insurance industry in providing better service to the customers.
Our closing panel discussion focuses on building the NBFCs of the future.
From a NBFC perspective, the risk management is the topmost agenda in that sense, I would say, right? And the regulators in India are very, very pro in terms of making sure the policies and making sure all the frameworks are, I would say, better, not at par, better than rest of the global players in that sense, right? With the availability of data and the kind of underwriting that we're doing, kind of collection mechanisms that we have put into place, I think we are leading in this space given the market, the way it's behaving in India.
What that really will help is in adding values in terms of, having one streamlined architecture. So for example, we are all overly worried about security, but when you get into the cloud, you realize that only if you leverage the cloud native services and hence the security of that particular provider, can you really leverage the benefit of being in a cloud. So it's good to leverage multiple cloud service providers, but maybe stick to one or max 2, depending on where your business engagement or your enterprise applications are.
Co-lending, the way we understand it is that the risk is shared between two lenders, right? So with this context, I think our experience has been very, very good. And we have seen a lot of traction from the market also. And this is, I think, what I call as a new emerging segment. And the co-lending model actually ensures that the risk appetite that both the organizations have can very well be matched, right? So it's a win-win for everybody, for the customer as well as for both the lenders, the co-lending partners.
Business resilience is must as customer expectations are changing day by day, okay, and the disruptive technology, specifically fintechs, are like triggering us like anything. So yes, management is already thinking on that way. Only what from the technology point of view, I'll say we need to change our mindset from technology to a digital technology.